Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to call the meeting, our council meeting to order for Wednesday, July 8th, 2026 at 7:01. Councillor Leroux, if you could get us started off.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Town of Penetanguishene Official Land Acknowledgement. Penetanguishene respectfully acknowledges that we are on the traditional and treaty territory of Anishinaabe people and their ancestors, now known as the Williams Treaties First Nations territory. This includes Chippewa Tri-Council comprised of Bosley First Nation, Rama First Nation, and the Georgina Island First Nation, Alderville, Curve Lake, Hiawatha, and Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation. Also once the home of the Huron-Wendat and more recently the historic settlement of the Métis, Penetanguishene is now home to many Indigenous peoples. Penetanguishene is proud of its Indigenous name and more importantly that for thousands of years it has been and will continue to be an important homeland and gathering place for Indigenous people. We recognize that we are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters and are responsible to ensure that our mother, the earth, is here for future generations.
Thank you, Councillor Leroux. Councillor Marchand, can you do the French version for us, please?
Penetanguishene reconnaît avec respect que nous sommes citoyens sur le territoire traditionnel et de traité du peuple Anishinaabeg et des enceintes maintenant connues sous le nom du territoire des Premières Nations visé par les traités Williams. Il s'agit du conseil tripartite des Chippewas composé de la Première Nation de Beausoleil, de la Première Nation de Rama, de la Première Nation de Georgina Island, de la Première Nation d'Alderville, la Première Nation de Curve Lake et de la Première Nation de Hiawatha et de la Première Nation de Mississauga du Scugog Island. De plus, Penetanguishene était jadis de lieu de résidence des Huron-Wendat et plus récemment un établissement Métis historique. La ville héberge aujourd'hui de nombreux peuples autochtones. Penetanguishene est fière de son eau autochtone et de plus important du fait que pendant des milliers d'années, elle était et continuerait d'être un important territoire et lieu de rassemblement des peuples autochtones. Nous reconnaissons que nous sommes les intendants et gardiens de cette terre et de ces eaux et que nous sommes responsables de veiller à ceux et celles de notre mère, la terre, soient présents pour des générations à venir.
Thank you, Councillor Marchand. If Council could please stand now while we do our welcoming Council commitment. Councillor Vadaboncourt, can you get us through that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. We are grateful for the many gifts which have been bestowed on Penetanguishene and its citizens, including the gifts of freedom, opportunity, and peace that we enjoy. May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. We ask that all in attendance and those who could not be here assist us in promoting good government. May our decisions as members of council be enlightened, and may we all be strengthened in our awareness of our duties and responsibilities. May we be granted the wisdom, knowledge, will, and understanding to preserve the good fortune of the town for the benefit of all, to make good laws and wise decisions. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Councillor Vadaboncourt. Councillor Darash.
Nous sommes reconnaissants des nombreuses grâces accordées à Penetanguishene et à ses citoyens dont la liberté, les possibilités et la paix dont nous jouissons. Que nous soyons des intendants dignes de tout ce qui nous a été confié. Nous demandons que toutes les personnes présentes et celles qui n'ont pas pu se présenter nous aident à promouvoir une bonne gouvernance. Que nos décisions à titre de membres du Conseil soient éclairées et que nous soyons tous renforcés à prendre conscience de nos devoirs et des responsabilités. Que l'on nous accorde la sagesse, les connaissances, la volonté et la compréhension qui nous permettront de préserver la bonne fortune de la ville au bénéfice de tous, ainsi que de faire de bonnes lois et prendre de sages décisions. Merci de votre présence.
Thank you, Councillor Darash. Welcome all. We're just about getting ready to start. As everybody will notice, our Mayor Rawson is not here tonight. He is joining us virtually. He's on a bit of a holiday out of town, but we decided we'd interrupt his holiday in the middle of his day to come and hang out with us. Sarah, could you please help us with the public service announcement?
Welcome to this evening's council meeting. For those of you who may require a washroom, there are public washrooms outside the council chambers entrance to your right. We also kindly ask that cell phones are turned off or put on silent during the meeting. Town Hall is protected by a single source fire alarm. Should the fire alarm be activated, please exit chambers calmly using the rear or side door and make your way down the stairs to the parking lot nearest the church. In the event of a medical emergency, please dial 911. The address of Town Hall is 10 Robert Street West, Penetanguishene. We also have public access defibrillator outside of the main council chambers. Bonjour et bienvenue à la réunion du conseil municipal de ce soir. Pour celles et ceux qui auraient besoin d'aller aux toilettes, les toilettes sont situées à l'extérieur de l'entrée de la salle, à la droite. Nous vous prions également d'éteindre vos téléphones cellulaires ou de les mettre en mode silencieux pendant la réunion. L'hôtel de ville est protégé par un système d'incendie. Si l'alarme se déclenche, veuillez quitter la salle calmement par la porte arrière ou latérale et descendre les escaliers jusqu'au stationnement le plus proche de l'église. En cas d'urgence médicale, veuillez composer le 911. L'adresse de l'hôtel de ville est le 10 rue Robert-Ouest à Penetanguishene. Un défibrillateur est également disponible à l'extérieur des portes de la salle du conseil.
Thank you, Sarah. Council, next we have the approval of the agenda. I have a motion that reads that the agenda of the regular council meeting of July 8th, 2026 be approved as presented. Do any members have any comments or questions regarding this agenda? Seeing none, I'll look for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by Councillor Darash. All in favor? And that is carried. Down to number 6, we have a declaration of pecuniary interest. Does any member of council have a declaration they would like to declare? Seeing none, we'll move on to number 7, which is open forum. Open forum, we provide a 2-minute opportunity for any member of the public to speak to us about any issue that's important to them. First, you must register with Madam Clerk. So, Madam Clerk, do we have anybody up for forum?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 4 members of the public registered for open forum currently. The first up will be Irene Lau to discuss the telecommunication protocol. If you want to make your way up to the podium. Thank you.
Irene, just so we know, we need your name and address, and it is a 2-minute limit.
Thank you, Irene Lau, Penetang. Thank you, Your Worship and members of council. I thank our planning staff for the comprehensive report concerning the ISED Tower siting consultation. We fully support sending staff's recommendations, objections to ISED. However, we must go further tonight to address a couple of glaring blind spots in this federal framework: the 15-meter height exemption, small cells, and the compressed consultation period. Right now, telecommunication towers under 15 meters require public consultation and municipal concurrence. ISED wants to waive this. While staff had no technical comments on this threshold, our silence cannot stand as acceptance. A 15-meter tower is nearly 50 feet tall. Under the proposed rules, a proponent could erect a 49-foot cell tower right next to a home, a school, a sensitive environmental area, or behind St. Anne's Church with 0 public notice. This council wouldn't have to be made aware and would not have a say. A company could literally just show up one morning and start building it. Our community and council already said no to the cell tower behind St. Anne's. Please do not let it slip in through a backdoor loophole. I'm asking council to direct staff to amend our official submission. We must demand ISED eliminate the 15-meter exemption. All proposed towers and antennas, including small cells, regardless of height, must remain subject to full public consultation and municipal concurrence. Lastly, we must demand ISED maintain the 120-day consultation window. Staff suggested 60 days as a compromise, but a compressed clock is an administrative trap that forces automatic tower defaults. We need the full 120 days to properly engage the public and protect our local authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Next up is Brenda McDonald, who is going to be discussing 106 Robert Street West. Thank you.
Welcome. Just a reminder, it is a 2-minute limit, as you know. Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Brenda McDonald. I live on Center Street, but my friends now call me Mrs. Freetag. I am here tonight to reiterate that while I am not proposing to stop this development, I will not back down on the securing essentials to protect my property. Because the proposed layout places parked cars facing my fence and sitting area, specific safeguards must be made mandatory conditions of approval. First, I require concrete wheel stops to physically prevent vehicles from crashing into my fence and sitting area. Second, I need a strict light pollution mitigation plan to ensure headlights and lot lighting do not shine into my home. Most critically, the current proposal to pile snow against my fence is unacceptable. Even if the developer uses environmentally safe alternatives, the salt chemicals melting off the cars themselves will be plowed directly into the snowbanks against my fence. As that snow melts, toxic runoff will pass the soil, will poison the soil and destroy my established shrubs. I have lived on Center Street for 36 years and I'm not going anywhere. I am here to ensure my property is respected. If these protections are not built into the final approval of site plan, any future structural damage or soil contamination will be direct preventable result of the decisions made here. Furthermore, we need a clear written agreement on who is responsible and what immediate resources are available to the developer fails to manage their snow and runoff properly. I am asking council tonight for the last time, what specific binding conditions will you place on the development and apparently doesn't need a plan to guarantee that my property is protected from structural light pollution, environmental runoff. I said I will not give up, and that is my promise to council and whoever else makes these decisions.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Next up is Guy Pilon to discuss the 18 Wright Court development.
Good evening. I'm here to lodge a formal objection to the planning application file number OPA 2026-03 and zoning bylaw amendment CBA application. Your council, CEO, and planning department. I object to the current submission by James Hunter, authorized agent of Morgan Planning and Development on behalf of the registered owner of Wright Court Developments. This plan conflicts with the town's master plan and creates a high-density development of a 6-story, 150 residential unit within an R1 residential area. When I purchased my home some 30 years ago from Ray Marsha, the plan included the lot above marked as residential 1. Another earlier developer subdivision showed an abutting property as such. In fact, it was Mr. Alberts, former vice president of PSS, who had this development plan registered within this facility that it somehow managed to disappear. The plan there on his plan showed 13 lots with a frontage of 60 feet. The road allowance still exists today and exits on Copeland Street and Wright Court. This plan is ill-conceived, intrusive to the quiet peace we have grown to enjoy. I would devalue our homes, invade our own privacy, and cause massive vehicular traffic along Copeland Street, Wright Court, and Thompson Road. Where will you put 200 cars that would accompany this building? How large of a parking lot would you have to build to construct to accommodate these vehicles? There is a blind exit on to Thompson Road. Traffic would have to be directed east. Those vehicles would have to turn left onto Copeland Street to get to the highway in 93. Further, the vehicles coming in from the west would block trucking movement along Thompson's Road and creating unsafe conditions. There are other areas and developments on hold that could accommodate such a large-scale project, such as Fuller Avenue, are ready to go. More possibilities could be considered around the future PSS secondary expansions, not the school, just the grounds. This is a poorly conceived request by the developer designed to maximize profits over community well-being. I strongly urge council and property farmers to reject this proposal and to keep the zoning exclusive R1 for the residents that live there and the community of the town itself.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last up is Bob Thompson to discuss the Payette and Church Street open space.
If we are indeed the caretakers and stewards of the lands and waters around us.
So we have your name and address.
Sorry, I apologize.
No problem.
Bob Thompson, 24 Payette Drive. If we are again the stewards and caretakers of the lands and waters around us, then I'd like to reiterate the point that the open space land between Payette Drive and Church Street is a unique and very valuable piece of land as an open space park. Let's look a little farther into the future, like they did with Jasper, Banff, Algonquin Park, and preserve this land so that it stays an open space intact. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, anybody else?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's no one else registered. Thank you.
Sarah, do we have anybody online that is up for open forum?
Thank you. We have no one online this evening.
Thank you very much. Council, that brings us down to number 8. Next is statement by members. This is an opportunity for members of council to inform the public on activities they have participated throughout the past month. We'll start down at the end with Councillor Leroux.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. June the 11th, I attended a museum board meeting. On June the 17th, I attended a public meeting in regards to the Peel Street project. I attended the blessing of the municipal gardens at Martyrs Shrine on June the 21st. I attended the circus at the Penetang Arena on June the 25th. And I attended the dedication ceremony at Tawanchi Park for Larry Patnode, the ball diamond dedicated to him on June the 27th. And I attended the cutting ribbon ceremony on Main Street and dock area on June 30th for Pride Crosswalk. And I stand to thank to the town staff, the 55+ committee and volunteers for putting on a very successful lunch at Scott Playground for Pride. I attended on July the 1st Canada Day event at the museum, and on July 7th, I had a gender review with Director of Recreation Community Service along with Deputy Mayor LaRose.
Thank you, Councillor Leroux. Councillor Marchand?
Thank you. Just a couple things for me. I feel like I'm not as busy as Councillor Leroux. I did want to just say and congratulate staff and the museum on a wonderful Canada Day event. It was a warm day. The cupcakes did not melt, but it was getting close because it was certainly a warm day. But as always, thank you to the fire chief and the crew for hosing people off every once in a while and being there to support all of the activities. So really well done and great to see everybody there. Participated at Trails Committee meeting this week. Also had the opportunity to go down and do the meet and greet with the Parks and Recreation staff down at Rotary Park. It was great to see lots of usage at the water park and just having staff down there just chatting and welcoming individuals and seeing everybody use the great facility that's down at our park, which was wonderful to see. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Vadaboncourt.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. So on June 22nd, I chaired the Committee of Adjustment meeting. We had 2 applications that we considered that evening. On July 1st, similar to Councillors Marchand and Leroux, I attended at the Centennial Museum for the Canada Day festivities. Earlier in the day, I also walked the Midland Canada Day Parade representing the town of Penetang-Washeen. And on July 6th, earlier this week, The deputy mayor and I had our transportation environmental services section meeting. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Darash.
Thank you very much. I attended the Procedure Bylaw Public Information Session on June 17th, and I also attended the Peel Street Public Information Center on June 25th. I too enjoyed the Canada Day festivities, and a big shout out to all the many volunteers who were there all day and who worked really hard, and who actually are the reason that it's such a great event every year. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Darash. Councillor Waters.
Thank you. On the 17th, we had our procedural bylaw public information session. I attended both afternoon and evening, and we were lucky enough to have one person show up. On the 25th, we had our Peel Street information session, again, an afternoon and evening one. And then we had quite a few more people for that. The 27th, we had the Tay Township Canada Day event, and we were in the parade for that, and we're lucky enough to have a Tom Smith truck give us a ride. On the 30th, we had the ribbon cutting for the Pride crosswalk down at the bottom of the main street. Canada Day, we at the museum did the cupcake stuff, and this week we had finance and community service and planning and development meetings.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. I'll go next while your worship gets ready. I attended most of the events with you people, as you know. We did the parades, and a huge shout out, Irene, to your crew down at the museum, staff, volunteers, fire department. Absolutely an amazing event, just like always. I was helping out doing some of the food for a little while, and I must say I felt for those poor guys on the barbecue. Under that tent, the heat, the 4 hours of cooking, they were losing weight at the end. So everything else I think has been covered. So your worship, if you'd like to give us yours.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Busy month. I won't repeat everything that was said, but I think everyone's already commented the great work done by the Volunteers of Canada Day, so thank you. Also attended the Legion Branch 68 luncheon with some of our staff, so it was another great event. Since our last meeting, our Southern Georgian Bay OPP board met, and you'll see in the CIP the annual reports also attached, which I'll speak more to later. Went to Larry Patno dedication at Tawanchi. It was mentioned the Tay Township Canada Day Parade. That was well done. I went to the St. T's graduation event. My son was graduating this year, but it was great to hear the support that the town of Panatangwisheen provides to the students. I had some of them come to me since then, thanking the town of Panatangwisheen for their support with the sponsorships. County Council, which you'll speak to, Deputy Mayor. I also went to our all-staff annual barbecue, which was a great event that was done at the arena a few weeks ago. So hats off to Jeff and the team that makes this happen. I think it was a great event. I attended the Métis Discovery Day at Discovery Harbor a couple of weeks ago. As well, went to the annual powwow at St. Marie on the Friday and Saturday for the grand entry representing our community. I also went to the Métis Nation of Ontario's Little Harbor Daycare sod turning event for the new childcare center coming to the town of Panatangwisheen. So another great event. Participated in the My Life Georgian Bay resident barbecue. Also went to the Midland Sea Cadets annual ceremonial review. We had Canadian Martyrs grade 4-5 class in council chambers a few weeks ago. Another great event having our school youth participating. Participated in the CNCC advocacy and planning event with Emily and Jeff. And I also participated in the annual emergency planning training done, hosted by the Panatangwisheen Fire Department and in collaboration with the County of Simcoe. And I actually gave some accolades to the county about that during our last county council. I'm sure COEs may mention this, but this has been a great partnership and great work done within the community. So it's been a busy month. That's the highlights. I just want to also state, Deputy Mayor, I think we all have heard the news today is National Paramedic Day. People will know I served as a paramedic for years. Yesterday, there was a tragic accident in New Brunswick where 2 paramedics and a patient died in a motor vehicle accident. I actually worked with the individual. He trained me when I first started working as a medic out in Nova Scotia. So Just wanted to acknowledge the work done by them and the police officer that succumbed yesterday as well. So 3 first responders. I just wanted to mention. Thanks. That's it for me, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. That does it for 8. We're down to 9 proclamations. There are no proclamations this evening. 10 is a public meeting. This is a public meeting under the Planning Act to consider an application for the removal of the holding provision for 67 Wozniak Road, ZA 7-2026. To council, the purpose of this public meeting is to provide an opportunity for the public to make comments. The purpose is not to engage in debate regarding the merits of the application, nor is it intended to be a question and answer period. To the public, this is your opportunity to speak, and we encourage you to do so. So, Andrea, if you could introduce that for us, that would be great.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, members of council, and the public. As noted, this is a public meeting to consider the removal of a holding H symbol from the property at 67 Wozniak Road. This is a technical rezoning. It doesn't change the land use permissions of the property. Holding symbols are applied to ensure that technical requirements of the town have been met. And in this case, it's that a well and septic can be supported on the property with the house that's being proposed. So the applicant has provided that information to the town. We have reviewed it and have determined that the holding symbol could be lifted, that the technical requirements have been met. I also confirm that notice of tonight's public meeting was given on June 16th, and there have been no comments from neighbors or agencies that were circulated. So with that, I could answer any questions, Your Deputy Worship.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Does council have any questions? Seeing none. Is there anybody from the applicant to talk to this? No. So thank you for attendance and participation in a public meeting. Council will consider an amending bylaw to remove the holding symbol later on in the meeting. We also, did we have any questions from members of the public? Yes, thank you. I forgot. We have another one of these to do. This is a public meeting under the Planning Act to consider the planning, building, and bylaw fee review. To council, the purpose of this public meeting is to provide an opportunity for the public to make comments. The purpose is not to engage in debate regarding the merits of the application, nor it is intended to be a question and answer period. To the public, this is your opportunity to speak, and we encourage you to do so. Andrea, if you could take us through this one.
Thank you very much. I will be brief. There is a presentation that's on the screen as well as in your council agenda. This is the statutory public meeting under the Building Code Act to consider increased fees associated with the building code administration, as well as it's a public meeting to consider planning and bylaw fees that are a requirement of our notice bylaw itself. So this is, we're satisfying that requirement. So the next screen. So in April, we had our consultant come forward, Hampton Consulting, that we retained to do this study for us. It was prepared to do a full cost recovery based on the services and the level of effort that is given to these applications. They reviewed the town's processes for dealing with either building, planning, or bylaw permits or licenses. And there are 2 types of costs associated with processing of those applications. One of them is the direct costs, which are salaries, operating costs, such as so forth. And then there's the indirect costs that help to support the service. So HR and administrative fees, office rent, those types of things. So those are the 2 types of costs that were evaluated by Hempson. For the next slide, across the board, when it comes to the planning fees, all the planning fees were identified as not being cost recoverable, that the municipality was actually using taxation dollars to help facilitate and process planning applications. Additionally, Hempson did a benchmarking study and identified that the planning application fees in the town of Penetanguishene are also low across the county of Simcoe. So what they recommend, there are some fees and instances need to be tripled in order to be full cost coverable, as well as to come up to what is more average or aligned with what's being charged across the county of Simcoe. And then additionally, one of the recommendations was to create a reserve account for the planning department that would target 75% of the operating costs, so that in years where the department is not receiving a lot of applications, that it can still operate without impinging on taxation dollars. Next, please. So as part of the notice, sorry if these are hard to read, I'm not going to go through each of the individual charges because that's a lot of information. I want to just highlight some of the ones that are the major changes to what may happen in planning fees. So the ones up here, these are administrative fees. These aren't ones that are dealing with like rezonings or subdivision applications. Just of note here that the two fees on here, we have a telecommunication facility fee, which if ISED goes ahead will no longer be required. And the other new fee that we have never had before because we updated our bylaw was a fence variance application fee. So those are two fees that we haven't had because they're new services provided by the planning department. Next, please. On this slide, these are the planning application fees. The one I want to touch on here is the official plan amendment application. This is the highest increase. This is the application fee that will triple. It does represent quite a significant amount of work on staff. It involves a large number of staff from other departments, consultants. So our current fee was $10,000. Their proposal is to go up to $28,100. This fee isn't the highest in the county of Simcoe, but it would be among the highest in the county of Simcoe for official plan amendments. But again, it was identified that this fee is very low for the amount of work and effort that's involved in official plan amendments. Next, yep, thanks, Sarah. So in this one, this is largely about wrong one. Oh, I'm sorry. These ones, again, the one here is the plan of subdivision fee. This is also a fairly significant increase in fees. Currently, we charge $15,000 for a plan of subdivision. This would go up to $35,000. And it could be potentially reduced along if it's associated with other applications forward. So again, plans of subdivision, plans of condominium take years and can take a significant amount of effort by staff. And so that fee is representative of what it actually takes to process a plan of subdivision application. Next, please. These ones are committee of adjustment application fees. And I just wanted to note the consent fee. Currently, we charge $1,500 for a new lot. We're proposed fees going up to almost $3,000. So this is doubling of a consent fee. Our consent fees were low across the board. I know in some instances we talk about the creation of lots is a profit opportunity for the owner of the property. When they create multiple lots, they then have a marketing opportunity to sell those. So there is some profit and value going back to them for filing that application. So this would bring us up again to within the county's benchmarking range. The other one I wanted to identify is the minor variance application fee. The minor variance currently is $750, and this would go up to $1,530. This is again a fairly big jump. It is to just recover the costs associated with processing a minor variance application. Currently, it's one of the lowest in Simcoe County, and as this proposal is to go up to almost $3,000, it would then only be in a bit of middle ground in the county of Simcoe when it comes to minor variance fees. I wanted to note this one specifically because this is one that most of the time homeowners will use. Developers don't often need minor variances. They do sometimes, but it's usually homeowners and our residents that will apply for a minor variance. And so my approach in the past has always been to try and keep it at a modest rate so that people can afford to improve their property. So recognizing that we have a fairly new zoning bylaw and we have some updated regulations that hopefully we are reducing the number of minor variance applications that homeowners have to apply for. But in instances where they do, this fee will be a significant fee for a homeowner in deciding whether to pursue their project. Next, please. The site plan applications, again, these are going up a bit. From $5,000 to $13,000. Site plan applications, again, are very time-consuming applications to deal with. There's a number of revisions, a number of staff involved, and takes months and sometimes years to go through these site plan processes. So this new fee is just really reflective of the cost, and again, in line with what other municipalities in Simcoe County charge for site plans. Next, please. So really quickly, I'll go in the bylaw department. So similarly with the bylaw department, they provide two types of services in the form of licenses or permits. And then they also do enforcement that are all covered under the town's fees and charges bylaws. So some of the licenses include the sale of fireworks, refreshment vehicles, taxi cab licenses. Some of the fees for enforcements that get charged are inspections or cleanup costs for properties, sign permits. And then we have the benchmarking that was done, and the benchmarking came across that said the town of Penetanguishene's fees are quite low when it comes to a bylaw. Having said that, if we go to the next slide, the fees for the bylaw department, either permits or licensings, are low in the first place. So a lot of the fee changes are, relatively minor, from $300 or $250 to $270. So it's not thousands of dollar changes, but these fees now actually reflect the level of service that is and the requirement of work that it takes for our bylaw department. And in some instances, the fees went down. So it really was a good exercise to go through to actually come up with what should we be charging for these levels of service. So I won't necessarily go through the license fees because there wasn't any major changes to them, but there are some changes, increases and decreases to the bylaw licensing. Next, please. Again, similarly with permit fees, these are very minor changes to it. The one exception would be the extended use of sidewalk permits. These are our patio permits. And so what we've done in there is to encourage applicants to come in early in the year, that if you apply before April 1st, you can only have to pay $340 for your patio permit. If it's after April 1st, I'm reading those backwards. 170 if you apply for before April 1st, 340 if you apply after April 1st. And again, that's just reflective of the level of effort it is to coordinate closing of a sidewalk and installing a patio in that time of year. So we want to incentivize people to get in early and to get their patios established early. Next, please. These are the enforcement fees, some very modest and minor changes associated with these fees. One that may be of interest to council because it's a recent conversation we've had is around short-term rentals. I know there was a very thorough conversation council had a number of years ago when we set the renewal fees and the licensing fees. They're actually recommending that those go up. So a new short-term rental license for 3+ guest rooms goes from $900 to $1,130. Where if you have a smaller type of Airbnb, it goes from $500 to $630. And I think that was what council had previously directed. Next, please. Finally, when it comes to the building analysis, this was a bit of a unique one, given that we purchased the services of building department from the town of Midland. And so it was a couple of years ago in 2023 where the town of Midland went through and did a fulsome fee review of their own fees. And we've mimicked or harmonized our fees to be as close to Midland's as possible, given that it's the same people doing the same work in almost the same communities. But having said that, their study didn't specifically address Penetanguishene specific costs because we have our own costs that are not covered under the agreement with Midland. And so what that identified was that we should be potentially charging a little bit extra for the services in Penetanguishene. What they've also, and this is not probably news to council, was the balance in the building department reserve is not sustainable, that we're drawing on it more often than we are putting money into it. And that puts that department in a risk for being able to be self-sufficient. And so the study actually recommended that we apply 11% surcharge to all building permits that are issued in the town of Penetanguishene in order to build up that reserve and cover our costs associated with our service agreement with Midland. So no fees changing, but they're all going to get an additional 11% added to them, should council agree. Next, please. So just really quick summary. Tonight, this is the public meeting. I'm looking for any feedback. We have not received anything that we sent out on our website. We also emailed the builders development community. I've not heard anything back about the proposed fees, but there's an opportunity for council or for the public to speak to it tonight. Any feedback we receive, I will take back and review our fee bylaw and come back in the next month with a recommendation on what we should put our fees, how we should structure them. And I'm planning for that in August with a hope that some of these fees could be increased as early as September. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Director Betty. That's a whole lot of information for us to decipher. I'm going to go to the audience first. Is there anybody here that wishes to provide any comments to this fee bylaw? If you could, sir, take the podium, give us your name and address.
Bob Thompson, 24 Payette. Just a curious question. When was the fees last raised? You know, are we dating way back or?
Sure, I can attempt to answer that one. So each year annually, the department does a fee review based on sort of an analysis of what other municipalities charge. In my time here, and that's now over 11 years, we've never done a study which actually looked at the actual cost of providing that service. We've always just done a fee review on a comparison basis. So this is the first time in my knowledge that we've done a full cost recovery study to set the fees.
Hopefully that answers your question. Is there any other questions from anybody? Yes, sir. Your name and address, please.
Andrew Stewart, 56 Lauren Avenue. Just wanted to clarify if and when these fee increases would come into effect. Was that September, if I heard correctly?
Director Benny?
Yeah, thank you very much. So with the next report in August, I will propose a date for them to become effective. Council can certainly choose any date they want. This was intended to be something that was done a couple months ago, so I'm a little behind. Normally, we do our fee increases in January 1 of every year, so that could be the time that council chooses to increase these fees. Additionally, we've had some comments that these fees are quite large, some of the increases, so we might phase them in. The next report will talk a little bit more in detail about the timing and what they're actually going to be.
And would this be an appropriate time to just inquire about the development charge fees as well? I was expecting to, I thought it would tie into this. Just curious if there is word on rebate not being the right technical term, but waiving of development charges. Is that an appropriate thing to bring up at the moment?
Not necessarily.
Okay. We can talk after. Okay, thank you very much.
You'll get your answers, yes. Is there anybody else that wishes to ask a question or comment on this? Seeing none, I'll go to council. Is there anybody from council that has any comments or questions? Councillor Vadebouncourt.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. And I see the mayor's got his yellow tag on. Do you want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so question to the director with respect to the cost recovery, and you've used that term a few times. Is the cost recovery target 100%, or is the cost recovery target less than that, say 75% or 60%? And the rationale behind that question is because there are activities within the department that are just answering the phone, responding to inquiries at the counter, doing other things other than just tied to applications. And I was just curious what the target was in terms of the cost recovery. Thank you.
Director Benny?
Thank you very much. So this was 100% cost recovery based on applications. And so the work was done based on the time and effort and the number of resources involved in an application itself. So those other things that you said, the customer service or management, are not covered under these fees that are recoverable. They're separate from the revenues that we generate from applications.
Does that do it, Councillor Vadebouncourt? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. With respect to the pre-consultation, if an applicant avails himself of the pre-consultation process and then submits an application afterwards, is the pre-consultation fee deducted from the fee for the particular application?
Thank you very much. So interestingly, that was the case with our mandatory pre-consultation bylaw, that they did, when they paid the application fee, that they did get a reduction in their fees. However, when the province changed it that you can no longer require consultation, pre-consultation, we've actually found that almost nobody is going through the pre-consultation process. No one wants to pay that application fee at the time. So it is something that I will look at, and if they do want to go through the pre-consultation process, then we can add that as a reduction to their overall fee. It's, I forget what it was. It was not a high fee for pre-consultation itself. But my experience recently has been there's very, very few going through the pre-consultation process now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Your Worship.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. A couple questions. Andrea, the second last slide, it's got 4 points. The first one says feedback from council to phase in the increase which is being considered. Second is consideration of the public feedback, and third is present results in August. So my question is, the first one, feedback from council to phase in, are you looking for that tonight, or is that what you're looking for in August? And the presentation in August, does that come into committee of the whole, or does that come into council? If you're looking for these potentially to come forth for September, I suspect it'd be council. I'm just looking to see what that looks like, question one. And question two is, will you see any impact to the department level from a budgetary perspective? We heard tonight about direct fees, and a lot of this has been covered from taxation. Will we see this cost recovery have an impact on the taxation budget? And if you don't know the answer to that now and you want to bring a future report, that's fine.
Thank you very much for those questions. I'll do my best to answer them tonight. So timing wise, I was a bit ambitious in thinking that I would be able to respond to any feedback or any comments I got from council or the public tonight, and propose a report straight to council for August, so that we could pass, so council could consider the bylaw in August to become effective September 1st. Given that they have had the type of feedback I have, it may just rejig the schedule a little bit so that a report will come with a recommendation in the future, and then the effective date of the changes will be further down the road. So it won't happen quite as fast as I was ambitiously trying to do in the presentation itself. And so maybe the first part was, I would like your feedback tonight. That would be great to hear from council tonight with these fees, so that I can consider them before I make a final recommendation. And then your last question was about impact to budget. And yes, there would be a reduction in the planning department budget. Currently, I base the revenue, or predict the revenue every year based on previous year's revenue and application volumes. That's going to certainly change if and when these application fees go up. That we will be collecting more revenue, what can only have a positive impact on the operations of the department, and a decrease to taxation that the P&D department will need.
Does that cover it, Your Worship?
It does, thank you. Maybe just a couple more follow-ups to answer Director Betty's comments then. I didn't hear her first part. She did say it's come back in August. I would love it to come back to committee of the whole and not direct to council personally. I think we just need a little more time to see it and hear it and discuss it. I'm not really supporting a September go live. I think we need to have a phased in approach. I think we need to give the members of the public an understand what that looks like. You know, I know what we're trying to do. I understand, appreciate this report, and I understand, appreciate why we're trying to do it. But a member of the public a little while ago asked a question about development charges. Last month, council, we moved a motion asking to potentially decrease and waive DCs over a period of time based on a funding proposal. And then this month we're saying, well, let's increase other fees associated with the building. Again, I understand why we're doing it. I understand why we've gotten here, but they're kind of contradictory comments. So to your point, Director Betty, I personally wouldn't support a September, October. I'd like to give members of the public an understanding when this go live, January, April of next year. If there's a big gap, I do think we need to have a bit of a variance or a graduation to get to that point. The other thing I would like to see is, you know, some of these fees double. I'd like to see what is the percentage increase and how does that relate to, we talk about municipal price index or CPIs. Like, are some of these increase 100%? Where if we looked at if you said it's been 10 plus years, what would that be if we were to apply a municipal price index or CPI over the same period of time? So instead of 100%, maybe it should only be a 23%. We stagger it over a period of time. So I'd like to be able to see what that looks like. And again, I think it needs to be over a period of time in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Marshall.
I would echo some of the sentiments that was raised by the mayor. I think there's some significant increases and would like to see more of a phased-in approach if possible, because there are some significant increases. I guess one point for me, just a clear understanding around the minor variance piece. I know the comment was we've kept it relatively low to make improvements to properties, and we want to ensure that everyone feels that they can improve their properties within the town of Penetanguishene, because we take pride in it. We want to see that piece. It's almost doubling, and so I'm concerned about that particular one and the direct impact on our residents to continue to make improvements on their property. If that's one that we could look at. And again, I think, is that a phased-in approach in terms of like that increase from that perspective? My other question was around the official plan amendments. Because that's a significant jump from 10,000 to 28,000. Do we get many applications against that? And I know some of the work that, having been on the docs, the ad hoc committee for the doc, we know that was some changes around one of our master plans, and there's a significant amount of work. So I respect that. I'm just curious, historically, would we have a lot of those requests that come in?
Thank you, Councillor Marchand. So for official plan amendments, I would say no. The ones that we have a fairly new official plan, 2018. The official plan amendments we have done over the past couple of years have been because in our official plan we wanted an amendment first. So they're the future study areas, the town dock, 51 Dunlop, the old hospital site. Those are the sites that go through an official plan amendment, because when we developed that document, it was important that they go through a separate process. Normally, I would say no. We normally don't get, we get maybe 1 to 2 in 5 years. So it's not a very high in demand type of application request. Although it's somewhat difficult to predict because there's been a lot of changes in development, and I would have never predicted. We have 3 official plan amendments already in this year, and one of them being our own. So I would never have predicted we would have had 3 in this year, given that they're coming from the development community. It's very hard to predict that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I would say it's would be unusual for the town to have more than 1 official plan amendment a year or 2 years.
Thank you. Does that cover it? So I'm wondering, Council, I'm sure staff has heard, it looks like it would be beneficial for us to get this at the committee of the whole. I've probably work on a phased-in approach, and we'll deal with this next month. With that, thank you for your attendance and participation in the public meeting. The comments and questions of the fee review will be addressed at a future meeting. We will deal with that in August. Moving down to number 11, we have delegations presentations, of which we have none this evening. 12 is adoption of minutes not already confirmed, that the following minutes of council meetings be confirmed and adopted as circulated. Do any members have any comments or questions regarding the minutes? Seeing none, I'll look for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Leroux, second by Councillor Marchand. All in favor? And that carries. That brings us over to our consent agenda. That the following consent agenda items haven't been given due consideration and be received for information. We have one on there, and that is the advanced snowplow truck procurement update. Do any members have any comments or questions regarding the memo? Seeing none, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by Councillor Drush. All in favor? Beautiful. That brings us down to number 14. We have the removal of the holding provision for 67 Wozniak Road, ZA 7-2026. Is there any comments or questions on this? Seeing none, we'll call for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Vadavant-Court, seconded by Councillor Marchand. All in favor? Well, we're good with that. The next one was the consultation on the amendments for the siting process for telecommunication towers. And it reads that the town of Penetanguishene submit comments to innovation, science, and economic development in keeping with the comments contained in staff report PL 2026-35. Do we have any comments or questions on this? Your worship.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. Thanks to staff for writing this report. I think it was well done. I just want to highlight some of the comments that was made during open forum tonight. I'm wondering if we can look for staff to make a little amendment to their application regarding the innovation, science, economic development comment from our staff report. And I think it was about the comments that was raised tonight by a member of the public about the 15 meters, the public notice period, the public consultation, the 120 days, local concurrence. I'm just looking to see if we can add that to our feedback with our ministry report. Thank you.
Director Betty, is that a possibility?
Thank you very much. I will take whatever direction council does want to give me with comments to submit. Just to clarify that, I would like to know exactly what you would like me to say. Is it that you do not support the 15-minute or 15-meter exclusion for cell phone towers, and you want 120 days as the time frame for a decision instead of the 45 that's in the current guidelines and the 60 that I recommended? Just some clarity what you want me to amend to add, but I'm happy to do whatever council gives me direction to.
Your worship, what would you like to do?
Yeah, I think the 120 days is appropriate. I would like to see the 120 days be added. Yes.
Madam Clerk, is that something that we can ask of council right now to change for the final report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of course, you can simply add as amended to the motion that's currently on the floor, if that's what council wishes.
Thank you. So I will ask the question. The mayor has brought it up. Is council in favor of changing the 60 days to 120 days and the 15 meter? Looking around the table, all in favor? We'll do it appropriately. So Director Betty, if that's enough information for you to get that changed, does that solve it for you, your worship?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, can we just get a mover and a seconder for that? Thank you.
Yes, we need a mover. Moved by Councillor LaRue, second by Councillor Marchand. All in favor as amended. Thank you. C is our wharf sinkhole update number 2, that $170,000 in the 2026 capital budget for the North Wharf sinkhole engineering and repair be utilized for repair work on sinkhole number 2 and or investigative work on sinkhole number 3. And that an exemption to procurement bylaw 2022-49 be approved, applicable to the town of Penetanguishene's request for tenders 2026-011. We'll start off with looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Marchand, seconded by Councillor Waters. Any comments or questions? I know Councillor LaRue and I dealt with this at section. Sherry explained it all to us. We're all pretty good. So with that, I will call for the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. D is janitorial services contract, and it reads that the town award RFP-2026-01 janitorial services to proponent D as outlined in the staff report RCS 2026-15 pursuant with section 8.3 of the procurement bylaw 2022-49. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Vadabon-Cour, seconded by Councillor Drush. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. We're down to 15A. We will go to Committee of the Whole, January 10th, 2026 minutes. First, I'll start with Councillor Vadabon-Cour to summarize last month's Committee of the Whole report. Councillor Vadabon-Cour.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. So I'll be speaking to the June 10th Committee of the Whole meeting minutes that are in the report, specifically dealing with the transportation and environment services section. We only had one item under the consent agenda, and that was the drinking water quality management meeting minutes from December 3rd, 2025. And we had no matters for consideration, and for referrals, we had no new items, and we had two existing items that continue to stay on the referral list: septage disposal and treatment resolution, and environmental controls for the sewage treatment plant. Based on that, Your Worship, I'll move, or Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'll move it, and I'll look for a seconder, that all the recommendations from the Transportation Environmental Services section be approved.
We have seconder, Councillor Watts. Is there anybody who wish to pull anything from there? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. Next up, we have Councillor Leroux for Recreation and Community Services.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. At Committee of the Whole meeting of June 10th, 2026, we had 4 consent agenda items. One was the Trails Committee meeting minutes of January the 13th, 26. Second was the Museum and Heritage Committee meeting minutes of April 9th, 26. Third was the Penetanguishene Public Library Board minute meeting of April 27th. And the fourth was the Wellbeing Accessibility Committee meetings of May 21, 26. There were 2 items for consideration. One was the 55 Plus Center and Ecology Garden Pilot OTF grant application, and the second was a change room use policy. There were still 6 items under referrals to upcoming agenda staff: Truth and Reconciliation, the Gateway to Rotary Champlain Wendat Park, Capital Plan for PMCC, Community Youth School Partnership, Request for Anglican Church, and Naming Policy. So it is moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor LaRose that the recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report related to Recreation Community Services section be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Leroux. Is there anyone wish to pull anything from this agenda? Seeing none, we'll ask for call for the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. Next up, we have Councillor DeRush for the Planning and Community Development.
The Planning Community Development Services section had one consent agenda item, and it was the February 18th meeting minutes of the Town Dock Advisory Committee. There were 2 matters for consideration. The first was the results of the public meeting for 138 Robert Street East. It was recommended that the application be approved. The second was a zoning bylaw amendment for 106 Robert Street West. It was recommended that the zoning bylaw amendment application be approved. One item remains on the referral list, and that is 161 Church Street and the options for future use. As the chair of the Planning and Community Development Services section, I move the motion, seconded by Vice Chair Waters, that the recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report related to this section be approved.
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to pull anything from this? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. Next up is Councillor Marchand with Finance and Corporate Services, please.
Thank you, Deputy LaRose. For the June 10th Committee of the Whole, we had one item under consent agenda items, and that was the Youth Endowment Fund update. We had one matter for consideration, and that was the Roads Division garage loan. And under future items, there was no items added or removed, and we have one item which remains is the procedural bylaw. As the chair and seconded by Councillor Waters, that the recommendations contained within the Committee of the Whole report related to Finance and Corporate Service section be approved.
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to pull any of those items? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? And that is carried. Down to number 16, which is presentation and consideration of report special committees. We have none. 17 is motions of which notice has previously been given. We have none. Does any member have a notice of motion to bring forward for a new one? Seeing none, brings us down to 19. Next is the consideration of our bylaws. Your Worship, we're going to let you provide your declaration for the related to the strong mayor powers for the bylaw, if you have that with you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. As per the Strong Mayor legislation passed by the province of Ontario on May the 1st, 2025, I am Mayor Doug Ross and hereby decide to not exercise the power to veto the following bylaws passed at the Town of Penetangwisheen Council meeting of July the 8th, 2026 in accordance with subsection 284.11 4A1 of the Municipal Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. That moves us down to that the following bylaws be enacted as bylaws of the Town of Penetangwisheen, 2026-30, zoning bylaw amendments for 106 Robert Street West, 2026-31, lifting holding provision for 67 Wozniak Road, 2026-32, authorize an internal loan from HEC Reserve Fund for the Roads Division Garage and Wash Bay. 2026-33 is 138 Robert Street East, ZA 2-2026, and that they be read a first time and deemed to be read a second time and a third time and carried. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by Councillor Marchand. All in favor? Oh, question, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Just a question to the Director of Planning and Development Services with respect to the zoning amendment application for 106 Robert Street West. At the public meeting, I made an inquiry with respect to site plan control for that property, and you responded that due to changes in the Planning Act that for apartment developments under 10 units, that site plan no longer applied. So we heard earlier the deputation asking for specific site plan matters to be addressed. My question has to do with, do we have design standards for the municipality that cover such matters that developers have to adhere to?
Director Betty?
Thank you very much. Through you to Councillor Badabancourt. We do. Well, there are two documents that we would rely on. The one that I think probably addresses the community members' comments is our engineering guidelines, our engineering development standards. And it's those standards that talk about stormwater, the size of parking lots, the construction of the parking lot, things of that nature that would address some of those comments. In the absence of an ability to do site plan that would deal with some of the other things on there, this will all be governed through a building permit application, and that the Director of Public Works would review the engineering plans associated with their building permit in order to determine if they meet our engineering standards.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Seeing none, we already have a mover and a seconder. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? And that is passed. Brings us down to number 20 on our agenda, which is the Simcoe County update. At the county, is for the public's information, the mayor and myself attend county council every other week. We're one community out of the 16 in the county, so we get to do that. So this is just a quick update as to some of the stuff that takes place down there. At the county, we had a very long meeting. We were 6.5, 7 hours. It was constant. Part of the reason is that we get the month of July off, so we had to do a whole bunch of housekeeping and stuff. One of the things that we had to deal with was through our governance committee. As council is aware, they're moving from 32 members down to 16. So you can imagine all the rules that need to be changed. You can imagine all of the separate things that we do, all the committees. There's 100 and some odd committees. Now that has to be divided up, and which ones we're going to keep and get rid of. So all that type of stuff was quite lengthy, but it needs to be managed. We will finish that off in August and September. The other thing I wanted to update council on was our Heart Hub, also known as Homelessness and Recovery and Treatment, which is based out of Barrie. It's up and running now, but just for everybody's information, they also travel. So if somebody is from our area, even our town here, if they can't make it to Barrie to get in to get their treatment and get fixed up and get some housing, they will meet you right here in town. They'll say, let's go to Tim's or down at the dock or wherever it seems to be comfortable. So we thought that was a very nice service. It's, it's a big county. Not everybody can have access to go down to Barrie. We also had a long report, I believe, that the mayor shared with everybody, which is on our Simcoe County Hospital Alliance. The county provides $3 million annually to the Alliance, and this removes the hospitals from coming and soliciting directly from the municipalities. We found it better to leave it in their hands. They can decide through the amount of hospitals that are in it, which is the 5 hospitals, of who needs more of that maybe this year than I need that next year. And we felt it was best to leave it with them. So with that, unless you have anything to add, Your Worship?
No, I think you hit it. Like you said, it was a big meeting. We also did the annual meeting for the airport and the Housing Corporation. Your comment about the Hospital Alliance, the staff report, actually, we did remove Southlake out of the funding envelope. Where currently Southlake is a funded hospital on behalf of the Hospital Alliance. And our updated report from staff was to recommend we only use hospitals within the geographical border. So a lot of good information was shared, and thanks.
Thank you. Moving down to number 21, we have an announcement and inquiries. We will start at the far end with Councillor Leroux.
Thank you, Your Worship, Deputy Mayor. The band The Wrongs will be playing at the Friday night soiree this coming Friday at the Waterfront Theatre and Amphitheatre. And then we also have coming up All Things Canadian Festival, July 25th from 11 to 8. It's a free community event at the Rotary Champlain-Wendat Park. It's a celebration of Francophone, Anglophone, and Indigenous cultures. So big event, and looking forward to having good weather for it.
Thank you, Councillor Leroux. Anybody else? Councillor Marshall.
Just want to do 2 quick shout outs. I wanted to just highlight and congratulate one of our very own residents of Penetanguishene, a young, talented hockey player that came from Penetang Minor Hockey Association, and he was a Flames. And that's Ryder Cali, who was drafted number 48 at the NHL draft at the end of June. Had the honor of having his mom coach my son and watched Ryder real time. And so it was really exciting to see, as a community, a Penetang Flame be drafted in the top 50 of the NHL. He's going to the Florida Panthers. I don't know if I'm happy about that. However, just huge kudos to Ryder Cali, who in his interviews went out of his way to say that he was from Penetanguishene, which really made me happy and pleased, and really highlighted the support of his mother, Fiona, who does a number of hockey clinics. And but really what gave me pride is all of the young local hockey players, and Your Worship, your son was probably no different, but the amount of social media posts and kudos by the friends in this community watching and cheering him on, I think is just exceptional, and really just demonstrates how community sports, we all love to see that a small town boy goes and is part of that draft, and so was really excited about that. And just also wanted to do a quick shout out as well as a Penetang Pickleball Associate member here in Penetanguishene, very proud. I wanted to say thank you to 2 anonymous donors in the community who did provide 2 nets on wheels. So there's quite a few people that participate every morning we have volunteers there that are from 7 a.m. till about noon, or we play officially from 8 till noon. I'm not there every day. And we go into the tennis courts. And so thank you very much, Parks and Recreation, for creating and repainting those beautiful yellow lines. We had 2 nets on wheels that were donated, and they just get wheeled into the court and wheeled out. And then also the Willettes also donated the screening and the fencing around the tennis court, because it reduces the pickleballs are lighter than tennis balls. So anyway, our group is really excited, and we are really grateful for the local donations that were done in our community to support this association.
Super, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Vadaboncourt.
Just one thing, and it has to do with the fees and charges bylaw. I didn't get the opportunity to express my thoughts with respect to the phase in, and I'm supportive of that. But when the phase-in comes back, if we can look at perhaps 3 options, a front-loaded, a back-loaded, and then an even distribution, so that we can consider the benefits of each. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vancourt. I'm going to go next while I remember. We have planes, trains, and automobiles. Fly in out at the airport on July 18th, 10 till 2. We have vintage aircraft coming that will take little kids up for a ride, get them exposed to it. There's a model railway display because that is also the train's head office. We also have an antique classic car show with the cruisers from Wasaga Beach. So that's July 18th from 10 till 2 at the airport. Your Worship, you're up next.
Thank you. Just 2 quick things. Thank you for chairing tonight, Deputy Mayor. I really appreciate that. It's been good sitting on this side, but I appreciate you doing that. And the other thing is, during open forum, we bypassed the CEO, and I did that twice this term. And if you recall, I had to buy him lunch twice because I did that, and I'd only have to buy lunch. So maybe now we could pass it to the CEO for any of his comments.
Well, I have it here. I have his name on ready that I missed it ready for under the announcement. So CAO, we will head to you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Just a couple things I was going to highlight, and I think for the most part these have been mentioned, but the annual emergency management exercise that we did, I think His Worship mentioned that, a great exercise that we undertook in conjunction with our friends at the County of Simcoe, and thanks to Chief McNeil and his team for leading the charge. We hope we never have to use those skills and put them into practice, but we certainly have seen that happen in this community and many communities around. So training and preparing is always a good thing. We had a couple information centers that was noted by members of council. So certainly thanks to staff and the team for putting those on, and thanks to members of the community that did participate, and of course members of council. The All Staff Appreciation Barbecue we had was a tremendous opportunity to bring staff together. We do this annually as an opportunity to say thank you. One of many ways we try and say thank you to the team, and given the weather, we opted to host that inside the arena, but a great opportunity, some fun, some camaraderie, and certainly showcase some fun little competitiveness with some cornhole games and a few other games of the like. And thanks to our HR team for leading the charge through Paula and Jessica. And then last but not least, I think it was noted, but our Pride Crosswalk unveiling, as well as the community picnic. We had about 40 people attend the community picnic on June 30th, which both events were fantastic and a great opportunity for us to showcase as a community, really, from an inclusivity and diversity perspective where we stand. So thanks to Sherry and the team for putting that on. The 55 plus Seniors Active Living Center certainly continues to do a tremendous job with various events and the like in this community, and that was certainly another great example of that. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, for the opportunity.
Thank you, CAO Lees. Did I miss anybody? Just to be sure. I just want to make sure. If not, we are going to move down to our confirmation bylaw 2026- Councillor Vancourt.
Sorry, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I thought the mayor may mention this, but I just wanted to mention that a member of council that I served with from 1997 to 2000 passed away recently, Carol Baker. And so she had been on council, served with the deputy mayor and with Councillor LaRue. And I was the CAO at the time and led a couple of initiatives. Councillor LaRue was reminding us of the Kitchikawana statue down at the Town Dock parking lot there. So she also was actively involved in economic development initiatives, not only in Penetanguishene but across North Simcoe. So she recently passed away, and that was recognized through lowering the flags at half-mast and whatnot. So I just wanted to mention that we express our condolences to her family. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. That was something that for some of us we knew for a long time, and a nice local lady. With that, we're going to go that the confirmation bylaw 2026-34 be signed, sealed, and delivered by the mayor and clerk, and that's moved by Councillor Leroux, seconded by Councillor Waters. All in favor? And that is carried. Can I get a mover for the adjournment at, geez, I can't even see that, 20 after 8:20? And that's moved by Councillor Waters, seconded by Councillor Vadaboncourt. All in favor? And we are adjourned. Where do council want to take 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that? 5 minutes? Thank you very much. Councillor Vadabancourt. Thank you, everybody. We're going to call the meeting to order. It is our committee of the whole meeting of Wednesday, July 8th, 2026 at 8:28. I have a motion that reads that the committee of the whole agenda for July 8th, 2026 be approved as presented. Do any members have any questions or comments regarding the agenda? Seeing none, I'll look for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Marchand, seconded by Councillor Vadabancourt. All in favor? Beautiful, that is carried. Next is our declaration of pecuniary interest. Does any member of council have a declaration that they would like to declare? Seeing none, if you think of any at the time, just let us know. That brings us to number 4, which is delegations and presentations. We have none. 5 is council information package. Council, we have 2 council information packages for your consideration. Would any member like to pull anything from either of these packages? Yes, your worship.
Thank you. Nothing for further debate. I just wanted to highlight a few. So on the June 17th CIP, I just want to highlight item 4B, Simcoe County Auto Mayors. I've talked about that on several occasions, but just highlighting some advocacy work being done from Simcoe County and really supporting specifically around our Honda plant and how much it's affecting jobs and the positive advocacy we've done that. So just want to highlight that for everyone. On the July 1st CIP, I want to highlight 3. One is number 1B. Strong Mayor Framework. This is an update we received from the Ministry of Municipal Affairs, and it was really what are the rights and provisions of the mayor, specifically in election year. So the regulations have been updated, and that's there for everyone's review. I want to highlight 3A is the OPP's annual report. So the Southern Georgia Bay OPP Detachment Board met last week, and we adopted the new annual report. So this is for the new Southern Georgia Bay Detachment. I just want to highlight that for your review, and it is available on that CIP in French and English. And I also want to highlight item 3B, which is an update from the County of Simcoe regarding the appointment of the warden. So we know that the legislation has been updated, and next term of council, the warden will now be an appointed member from the province of Ontario. That appointment period is now open, and it's open until next week. So any member in our community does not need to be a currently elected member, can apply, and 3B outlines how you can apply. So if anyone is interested, Mr. Deputy Mayor, 3B is how people can apply to be the warden for the County of Simcoe. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll ask again, anybody have anything? Seeing none, did we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Drush, seconded by Councillor Waters. All in favor? And that is carried. Brings us down to number 6, Transportation and Environmental Services section. Councillor Vadabancourt, I'll pass the chair over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. So I'm going to be speaking to the Transportation and Environmental Services section. We have 4 items under our consent agenda this evening. Drinking Water System Inspection Report for 2026 for the LaPage Drinking Water System. Drinking Water System Inspection Report 2026 for the Payette Drinking Water System, the Sewer Use Bylaw Compliance Program, and the Philip H. Jones WPW or CP final report. Does anybody want to pull any of those items or have any comments on any of the items? Seeing none, I don't see the mayor's not got his card up. So I just would like to speak to one, if I may, just with respect to the Philip H. Jones, the Water Pollution Control Plant final report. And overall, it's a positive report. There were no bypasses, but there are a number of recommendations in that report that the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks had identified that need to be addressed. And I'm just going to ask the director quickly just to advise council with respect to what the action plan is with respect to the items that were identified that need to be addressed. Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. So under review of the inspection report for the Main Street Sewage Treatment Plant, a number of the recommendations that were identified have already been flagged by our own operations staff, and we've implemented plans to address many of the recommendations already. Some of the exceedances that were flagged within the report were also flagged as part of our annual report. That was presented to council this year. So staff are already aware of those operational constraints, and those exceedances were reported to the ministry as per our requirements, and also the resolution of those issues were also resolved as well, and reported to the ministry as well as for follow-up. And a lot of the action items and recommendations noted in the report are actually cut and paste from our annual report, so we're well aware of those as well.
Thank you, Mr. Director. So any other questions or comments? Yes, Councillor Marshall.
Thank you. Just one quick question. I noticed that the drinking water system inspection for the page was an unannounced, but the other ones were announced. Can you just clarify why the differentiation on those, please?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Councillor Marchand. The ministry, particularly with the water system inspections, they'll rotate between announced and unannounced inspections. So it could rotate from year to year depending on the water system, so that they mix it up, so to speak.
Thank you, Councillor Marchand. So I'll read the motion. The following consent agenda items having been given due consideration be received for information. I won't read them because I read them earlier. May I have a mover, please? Councillor Waters, a seconder, Councillor Marchand. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. We'll move on to the one item for consideration, and this is a report dealing with an update on traffic calming measures in the Road Safety Initiative Fund. And you'll note in the report that since the province canceled speed cameras, they've provided the municipality with interim funding of about $142,000, which the municipality received and has spent on projects that council approved some time ago. And that was an interim amount, and now the province will be providing the municipality an amount of $568,000 to support, traffic calming and road safety initiatives. And in the report, there's a number of locations where this money is proposed to be spent on various aspects of road safety. The deputy mayor and I reviewed these items at our section meeting earlier this week. We had a couple of questions that the director responded to, and they're now before committee for review. Does anybody have any questions on the report? Yes, Mr. Deputy Mayor and Councillor Marshall.
Thank you. Just one comment. One of the things that we did discuss at section was knowing that Burkeville School is going to be moving. So it was designated as a community safety zone. So we were wondering about how that would work. And the director informed us that when the school moves, all the signage and the community stuff will be shifted up to the new one. So that was good news that they won't be left out in the old with any of the new monies that come to us.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Councillor Marshall.
Thank you. Just a general comment, the fact that we're getting almost we're getting over $500,000 to do these traffic calming measures. I just really appreciate the thoroughness of really looking at the entire town of Penetanguishene and really ensuring that we're addressing key areas and concerns that have come up through, various meetings over the last several years. And just really happy to see the various options that are being presented, just all of the different, the raised tables and all the other pieces really throughout the town. I'm really happy to see this, and it's great to see that we have this funding available to us and that we're moving on it quickly and we're getting these things in place. So really great report. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Any other questions or comments? Yes, Councillor Waters. Oh, sorry. Your Worship.
Thanks. I was fine with even with Councillor Waters first. I guess just a clarity. The report doesn't state, at least I didn't read that we've received $500,000. It says that we can apply for it. So I was just looking if Brian can just clarify for us. Is the 568 an application and we're just seeking that, or have we received that and we're just implementing?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to His Worship, it is an application-based funding program where we have the ability to be awarded up to $560,000 for traffic calming measures.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Your Worship, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Waters, did you have a question?
I didn't have a question. I will have something in the referrals though.
Okay, thank you. I'll cycle back a little bit later. So seeing no other questions, I'll read the motion. I'll look for a mover and a seconder. That the proposed plan for the use of the remainder of the road safety initiative funding for traffic calming measures as outlined in staff report RDS 2026-15 be approved subject to funding approval. May I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor, a seconder, Councillor Marchand. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries. So we have referrals to upcoming agendas and staff. We have two current items. First item is the septage disposal and treatment resolution, and we're looking to receive an update on that at Q4 of 2026. And then environmental controls for the sewage treatment plant, and we're also looking at that for Q4 2026. Any members of council have any additional referral items? Councillor Waters.
Yeah, my additional referral would be when council participates in the local parades, we currently have to rely on Tom Smith to provide us with a truck. And I think it would be appropriate if we used one of our own vehicles so that we have proper branding. And I guess there would be two questions. One would be, if we could look into the possibility of having the truck and what the insurance regulations would be in regards to using a truck.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. So, Madam Deputy Clerk, is that clear with respect to what the referral item is?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have clarity in terms of a town vehicle being used for the purpose of upcoming parades or future parades and the parameters surrounding insurance related to using a vehicle of the municipality.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I think you captured it. There would basically a vehicle be available to participate in these parades. So, Councillor Waters, you're moving that. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Roux, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion. Is that opposed or in for? Opposed. Okay, so the motion carries. Thank you. So, any other referral items? Seeing none, I'll read the motion that the Transportation Environmental Services section endorse the following additional and existing referrals to the upcoming agendas and staff, and accept as disposal and treatment resolution, environmental controls for the STP, and the one that was recently added with respect to the provision of a vehicle for council members' use at parades. May I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor, seconder, Councillor DeRush. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Any questions from the media and the public? Seeing none, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Councillor Vadeboincourt. Councillor Leroux, I'll pass the chair to you for the Rec and Community Services section, please.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. On the Recreation Community Services on the consent agenda, we have 3 items that the following consent agenda items haven't been given due consideration, be received for information. One is the Museum and Heritage Committee meeting minutes of May 14th. Second one is the Burkeville Community Use of School. And the third is the MERC Work Plan Update. Does anyone have any comments or concerns or want to bring any discussion? Councillor Vadeboincourt.
Thank you, Councillor Roux. I'd like to speak to the Burkeville Community Use of School report. Just a comment, I appreciate receiving the report. There's lots of information in here, specifically with respect to the construction of the new school and the gymnasium. It seems that the design is well underway, and we may have missed the opportunity with respect to participating and perhaps seeing a larger than normal elementary school size. However, our partnership with the Protestant Separate School Board in terms of the use of the school for community programming will continue in the new school. So that's very positive, and we'll have an updated facility. And for those of us who have been to the Burkeville gym, a larger gym of any sort is better than the gymnasium that they currently have. So yeah. So anyway, I really appreciate this report, and I want to say thank you.
Councillor Marchand.
Just a comment with regards to the MERC update, and just wanted to say thank you that you're keeping council and the community abreast of how we're moving forward and how the work plan is moving.
Thank you. Anything further? A mover and a seconder. Councillor Vadeboincourt and Councillor DeRush, all in favor. Thank you. Moving on to matters for consideration, we have none. Referrals to upcoming agenda staff. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 still on. One is the Gateway to Rotary Champlain-Wendat Park, capital plan for PMCC, community use school partnership, requests from Anglican Parish, and the naming policy. Does anyone have any that they would add, or can we also perhaps look at any that we can remove? No one has anything to add. Madam Clerk, do we have any in there that we could be looking at removing?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 2 items went to committee this evening and can be removed after next council meeting. So no items to remove.
Thank you. So if there's nothing further, a mover and a seconder, Councillor Marchand and Councillor DeRush, all in favor. That is carried. Thank you. Question period for media and public. There's none. I pass to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Leroux. Councillor DeRush, I'll pass the chair to you for the Planning and Community Development Services section, please.
Thank you very much. We have 2 consent agenda items for the Planning Community Development Services. The first is a memo from the Director of Planning Community Development regarding a complete application public meeting for 18 Wright Court. And the second is the Committee of Adjustment meeting minutes of April 27, 2026. The motion reads, does anyone want to speak to any of these items? Seeing none, I will read the motion that the following consent agenda items, having been given due consideration, be received for information. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Marchand, seconded by Deputy Mayor LaRose. I will go to the vote. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. We have one matter for consideration and that is 161 Church Street. And it's regarding potential uses, referring to the report. And attached, there's also neighborhood map. Now, I'll open the floor for any questions regarding this report. Yes, Councillor Redemoker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very good report. I have no issue with the recommendation. I just wanted to, if we could, get residents were concerned with respect to the development that may occur on the property at 161 Church Street. And you can see the property there on the map. It extends from the back of the homes on Payette right down to Church Street. And for those who are familiar, there's quite a steep grade, and then it kind of flattens out on Church Street. And then right beside the property is, I believe it's the Church Street Muse, if I'm not mistaken. It's a little apartment building complex. And I remember walking the site with some Payette residents, and they did think that there might be some development potential of the lands that front on Church Street, but only those lands, like, as opposed to the hill and everything that basically was not supported. So I'm interested to see what might come out of this review in terms of the development potential. And maybe nothing, and there might be nothing, but at least we're looking at it and we're considering it, and I think that's what's important. And as long as we have an open process and we consult, then I don't see anything wrong with it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for those comments. Do we have anyone else with comments? Yes, Mayor Rawson.
Thank you, Councillor Drush. Appreciate this report, and Andrew, appreciate the detail that's been provided. I just want to go backwards a little bit in my time and recollection here. And my comments are really around the staff recommendation. I'm not going to support the recommendation tonight, and I'm hopeful. I'd like to move an amendment, depending on what Madam Chair you put on the floor. I personally want to move option 1. If I go backwards a little bit, and I brought this referral forward a while ago, and we looked at, as a council, pledging property for the County of Simcoe for a housing program. In one of the properties we pledged forward to the county was 161 Church Street. And this referral is put forward to say we would like to look at what is the future of this property can be as we move forward. When we pledged this to the county did not move forward with this property. And council will remember the county actually moved forward with Burnell Side Road as the desired plan, and I believe it's in the plan for 2032 to move forward with a new housing project for the town of Penetangwisheen. So we did bring this forward, and the county did not move forward with the property. We do know there was history 10 plus years ago, which had a lot of public outcry about this property being used. Now, in the report, option 2 says, let's do a further assessment. And the further assessment is added in the 2027 capital plan, $50,000 to $75,000 to do a fulsome review. I don't really feel we need to do that. That is for us to evaluate what could this property look like for future development. If that's something that we want to do, then let's talk about which parcel are we going to sever off, and let's let the private world look at developing that if that's what they want to do. Because again, the county did not move forward with this, and the town of Penetangwisheen is not in the building market. When I brought this recommendation forward originally, the hope was that as a community, we could have a discussion about open space and parkland. And when that was brought forward, staff asked that we wait and that we use that as part of the Recreation and Trails Master Plan, which we received back earlier this year, which did talk about, yes, we should be safeguarding this. Now, we know that there are housing challenges, and that's one of the goals for the community. But there's a lot of development on the go. We just had one on our council open forum, or sorry, our council public meeting tonight, talk about future development on Wright Court as an example. And there are lots of development opportunities in the town of Penetanguishene. Someone during open forum tonight talked about, why don't we safeguard our parks and our lands? They actually talked about Jasper Park, and they said, why don't we do that like other areas have done? Now, I know Jasper Park's a national park, but why don't we safeguard that? Our community strategic plan does speak to trails and parks and open space and protecting these sanctioned lands for future generations. And I think it behooves us to want to do that and protect this property. And I would love to move forward with option one. So those are my comments. Madam Chair, when you're ready to call a motion, I'm happy to introduce option one as the motion. I'll leave it to you. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Councillor Marchand.
I would echo those sentiments and was going to look to propose option one as well. I feel strongly that we have been talking about this particular parcel of land, and I think going back out to see if there's any other opportunity for development, I think is not wise. I do appreciate and really we did give direction to have this as part of our recreation and trails plan. The direction has been provided. There was lots of feedback from the community. This particular parcel of land is so well utilized by the community all year round. And I think it's really important that we do protect open areas specifically within our community. There's lots of volume that it has one of the best views of sunsets in this in our town. It's utilized, like I said, year round. And I would really like to see that we make a decision and that we look to protect this piece of property under the as it would propose under the recreation and park strategy. So I won't be supporting the current option two that is on the table as well.
Thank you for those comments. Do we have anyone else who wishes to? Yes, Councillor Leroux.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also agree that I will be supporting option one. Again, I have to look at the fact that this land, this property, number one, other than open space and parkland, is also the waterhead protection area. Our wells are in that water field, and to have some kind of building or development on that property, I don't agree with. So I will go and support option one as well.
Thank you for those comments. Any other comments? Deputy Mayor LaRose.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was of the same vein. When I look at the toboggan hill that's used there all winter long, I look at our water and our wells. When you divide one from one side, keep one from the other side, you think of the steepness of the hill, there's just not enough left to live with. I have a hard time justifying $50,000 to $75,000 for somebody else to tell us that. Most of us have been here for enough years. We know what goes on there. So option one is okay for me.
Thank you. Yes, Mayor Rawson, did you want to put a motion on the floor, please?
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Rush. So I'd like to move then option one. And I would actually like to add in the restricted covenant piece as well. I appreciated the extra context that Andrea put in the report about that. And I really appreciate the comments in here about it was the original intent of the 1970s. And for whatever reason, it wasn't registered on title. I do know it caused some concern and frustration with members. And I think while we're going through the process, I believe that's the right thing to do. And we're doing the right thing by protecting this parkland, this space for future community use. And I would like to add that to option one. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Councillor Marchand. Any other comments before we go to the vote? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. We are now into referrals, and we have the 161 Church Street. So that is options for future use. So that will be coming off next meeting. Are there any other items that anyone wants to suggest for the list? Seeing none, the motion reads that the Planning Community Development Services section, no, I don't. It's cut off the screen, yes. That the Planning Community Development Services section endorse the following additional and existing referrals to upcoming agendas and staff, and that's 161 Church. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Marshall, seconded by Councillor Leroux. All in favor? Opposed? The motion is carried. Next is question period from media and public. Do we have any questions from anyone? Seeing none, we will bring it back to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Darash. Councillor Marchand, I'll pass the chair for Finance and Corporate Services, if you would, please.
Thank you, Deputy. Okay, for Finance and Corporate Services section, under the consent agenda items, we have two. The first is a memo from the Director of Legislative Services, Municipal Clerk, on Bill 9, Municipal Accountability Act for 2026. And the second is a memo from the Director of Emergency Services, the Fire Chief, with regards to the Hydro One Community Partnership Grant application. Any comments or questions about either of those items? Seeing none, I'll read the motion that the following consent agenda items, having been given due consideration, be received for information. Can I get a mover? Councillor Waters, seconder. Councillor Bedevancourt, all those in favor? That carries. Under matters for consideration, the first item we have before us is the 2027 budget timeline and survey. There is 3 attachments with regards to the procurement policy, budget timelines, and public consultation and management budget survey for 2027. I will put that, any questions or comments with regards to this report that's being brought forward in terms of timeline. Is there anything that sorry, Carrie, that you would like to highlight with regards to the report that you feel that should be brought forward from council that's different, as highlighted in our section discussion?
Through you, Madam Chair. I'll really just say, it says it in the report, but I'll really just say it is an amended, revised, very similar budget process, but during an election year, we've delayed it somewhat so that incoming council has all the opportunity to attend all of the special budget meetings and the public consultation, and to make a decision in the new year when they feel comfortable with the final draft of the budget.
Thank you very much. So I will put forward the motion that the 2027 budget timeline and the 2027 budget survey be approved as presented. Can I get a mover? Councillor Waters, seconder. Deputy LaRose, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. Next item, we have the fire pumper internal loan. So you have before you the report with regards to the loan from the Hydroelectric Commission Reserve Fund. Any questions or comments with regards to that report? Okay, seeing none, I will put that motion on the floor that a loan from the Hydroelectric Commission Reserve Fund be for the funding required for the fire pumper be approved in the amount of $600,000, and that the loan term are set as follows: 2.56% per annum, 15 years amortization, repayable in blended annual payments of principal and interest of $48,674 to begin January 1st, 2027. And further, that the annual repayment be included in the 2027 to 2041 fire department's annual budget. And finally, that staff bring forward the necessary bylaw for council approval. Can I get a mover? Deputy LaRose, second. Councillor Waters, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the procurement bylaw update, and thank you to our clerk, Kelly, for all your hard work on this report. Certainly this is no small feat in terms of pulling together the public information sessions, taking council feedback, and then looking at the procedural bylaws. So do appreciate, and we discussed this section, you will see that in the package there's an attachment that has the marked version that indicated the edits, which, thank you for me, certainly made it easier to be able to follow the changes that were being provided. Could I take a moment before I put it on the floor and ask if you'd like to make would like to highlight some of the key pieces?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As Council knows, their direction was provided to staff back in January of this year to update the procedure bylaw. And with that came some recommendations from staff. So 4 recommendations for staff, which are just procedurally items that staff felt needed updating, routine type items such as open forum in an election year and strong mayor power regulations to be included within. In addition to that, there was also some items that came forward from council for review and analysis from staff. Some of the larger ones being the timing of meetings, so specifically to review a 2 p.m. and a 6 p.m. timeframe for council meetings moving forward. In addition to that, there was another larger piece was the analysis of the consolidation of council and committee of the whole meetings into one evening, which would mean that as such that council would start the meeting, move into committee of the whole, and then following would ratify the items from that same evening. So that was another larger piece that came forward from council for staff to analyze, and which are included in the marked version as Chair Marchand explained. Based on so in total, there were 11 recommendations that were reviewed, and staff provided recommendations to those and are recommending approval for to move forward and provide notice to the public for the bylaw approval to come in August with implementation for the September meeting. So from that, depending on council, I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And also, again, just thank you to members of the community that filled the online survey and also came to the public information sessions, because certainly that was appreciated and considered going through this process and for the report. Any questions by members of council with regards to the report and what's being proposed? Your worship, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly, for this. I got 2 comments and a question. When I look at the marked version, I'm trying to find the exact number here. I think it's referring to Tiny Township's appointment to the library board. I'm just confirming, is that in our new procedure bylaw, or is that being removed? I thought we had made that update, but I just wanted to make sure about that. And my other one is about this trial, 6-month trial. I kind of feel like 6 months is not enough. And I say that because if council ratifies this in August, goes live in September, this council will only use the new procedure bylaw, technically September, October. November, new council gets sworn in. They technically would have December, January, and then the reports come in February. So I'm kind of feeling like for everybody's purpose, you need to extend it from 6 months to 9 or 10 or 12 months. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. Any other comments or questions by member of council? Councillor Bedevancourt.
Thank you, and I appreciate the staff report, and I appreciate, as you indicated, Madam Chair, the comments from the public with respect to various aspects that they were asked for their opinions on. I note that from the feedback and based on staff's analysis that we're still recommending a 2 p.m. start time. When this first came to committee, I expressed my concern about 2 p.m. start time, and I responded that I would prefer a 3 p.m. or even a 4 p.m., but 3 p.m. I could live with. So I do have concerns with that. The other aspects that I asked to be looked into were looked into, and I'm satisfied with the responses. One question I have is with respect to closed meetings. So typically our council meetings start at 7, and tonight we had a closed meeting at 6:15. So I was searching through the bylaw to see if there was some reflection of that in the new bylaw. For example, if our meeting times are to start at 2, does that mean our closed session could start at 1:15, and then our regular council meeting start at 2, which again would just add to my concern with respect to that early time. Now, if the closed session is after the meeting, well then obviously that's significant as well. So I just wanted to express my concern, Madam Chair, that I do have concerns with respect to the start time, and I'd like to understand how the closed session meetings going forward are going to be accommodated. Thank you.
Kelly, did you want to make a comment? Thanks.
Through you, Councillor Marchand, to Councillor Vadavoncar. So I believe it was in the first report where it spoke to special counsel, and in the bylaw, it really is the call of the mayor to call a special council meeting. So that could be at any time that the mayor wishes. However, it was addressed that if there were to be a special council meeting, routinely we would do it previous to the 2 p.m. start time. So it would be similar to what we're doing now at 7 o'clock. If there was special council and it had to be at 6 o'clock, say, it would be similar. So a 2 p.m. start time with a 1 p.m. special council, for instance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions with regards to the report, Councillor Waters?
Yeah, I actually don't really understand the need to be changing the time. We had our public meetings. We only had one person show up for that, and they were actually in favor of the evening option. When I look at the pie charts, it looks like about 45% of the people preferred the afternoon, 55% preferred the evenings, which makes the majority of the people in favor of keeping things the way they are now. And I struggle to try and figure out why we would be having a change. It just doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Councillor Waters. I think in the report, regardless that we only had perhaps one member here for the public information session, there was the online survey, and that was one of the questions, the key questions. So I know in the report, it did say that there was more respondents that did, select the 2 p.m. It was very close, and I think the report really talks about kind of those pieces and those times where there was members of council, we had an opportunity to bring forward what we would like to have discussed as change, and that was brought forward. So I think the due diligence was done in terms of doing that work. Kelly, I'm not sure if you want to comment any more on the results themselves other than outside of the report.
Thank you, Councillor Marchand, through you to Councillor Waters. Councillor Marchand, you did a great job at explaining the numbers. Like you said, they're very close. However, the 2 p.m. Start time was the favorable option. That's the reasoning why staff moved forward with that option for recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor DeRush.
Yes, thank you very much. I'd like to speak to the time. So previous to sitting as a council member, I had delegated to council in the last term. It was regarding the local aging plan. And I remember it was then we were doing, I guess it was a virtual meeting, and I was delegating, and I was delegating at 9 o'clock at night. This is through the council meeting. And I remember thinking how awful it was that we were trying to get through the business just to get through it, because council had a committee of the whole waiting. And so as a person from the public, I remember really feeling badly that we were pushing through, the council was pushing through on this presentation. And then I lived it. So now I'm a council member, and although, I think the polling says that generally people will either like it or not like it, and other people will like the afternoon or not like it. So it's a bit of a split. But as a council member, I remember 2 meetings that we've had in recent, I think this year maybe, and when you're starting to talk about big business at 10:30 at night, it's not a good thing. Not for me anyway. And so for me, this is my main concern. When we start meetings at 7 and they go late, I don't think that people make maybe the best decisions after a long day, after a lot of a lot of discussion, and we're making big decisions at 10:30. I think we're selling the people short. I think that is something we need to think about, because it can't just be about. Certainly, it's not, when I say 2 o'clock, for me, it's not convenience for me. It's because I think we need to be on it. We need to be sharp when we discuss, and we need to be able to make sound decisions and not feel like it's 11 o'clock or 10:30 and we're trying to rush through just because it's been a long day. So those are my comments as far as time.
Thank you, Councillor Drush. Your Worship, I think you put your card back up. You wanted to speak again?
Yeah, I just want to comment on the time. I think Councillor Waters asked why. I see this as a low risk. This is an opportunity for us to pilot and test something. I'll answer one of the questions, I believe, Councillor Waters. Why? I'd echo everything you just said, Councillor Drush. But also, you know, if we're meeting at 7, we go till 9 or 10, staff already put in an 8 or 9 hour day. Before council. So now it's a 12-hour day, 14-hour day. So I think it's about work-life balance and supporting our people, about doing the best that we can. I see it as a low risk opportunity for us to see how does this work and how does it meet the needs of the community. So I think this is a good opportunity for us to evaluate. And my other question, if I can, Councillor Marcia, was about the terms of reference for the public library. I thought we had updated the 5 members of the public, 1 resident of Tiny. We don't have a member of Tiny. So I just wanted to see, can that be an update on this version? And as well, I guess when we're ready to move this, I think the 6 months, I think we're selling ourselves short. Like, I do think it needs to go longer. Again, it's only 2 months. But I'd love to hear from the Madam Clerk about the Tiny representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Mayor Rawson. Absolutely, that was an oversight on my part. So that portion will be removed so that it reflects the terms of reference. Thank you.
So, Madam Clerk, if we were, I don't know that the mayor has put it on the floor, if that's something we need to put on the floor. I know that one of the things that's sectioned, that any major changes, this does require for more public consultation. If we were to extend the trial period as suggested, is that something that would need to go back out, or is that something we'd be able to do and make a motion and move on this evening?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That piece is actually formulated within the motion this evening. So, friendly amendment to that motion would suffice if council feels like it should extend that. Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying. I see that that's in the motion, but I appreciate that. Are we? Then, Your Worship, are you looking to make a friendly amendment to the motion that's on? I lost it for a second. I feel like he's working off the top of his truck. No.
Yes. I'm happy to make that a friendly amendment.
With 10 months or 12 months?
I'll let Madam Clerk decide. I just think two months for a new council is not enough time. That's all I'm trying to think.
Great. Okay, so why don't we? I hear 8. I hear 10. Let's go for 10 because it's in between. That gives. We'll say 10 months. Okay, so before I put the motion on the table with the friendly amendment, do I need a seconder for the friendly amendment or no? Okay. Any other comments or questions by members of council? Okay. Oh, Councillor Bedevancourt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just after we deal with that motion, I'd like to put another motion on the floor. Thank you.
Okay, so I will proceed with this motion. That the updated procedural bylaw be approved as presented, and that a notice to the public regarding the intent to adopt the updated procedural bylaw be provided, and further that staff report to council in 10 months regarding the meeting time trial period, and finally that staff be directed to bring forward the necessary bylaw for council approval. Can I get a mover? Your Worship, second. Councillor Darush, all those in favor? Opposed? Carries. That is carried. Can I go to the referral piece? Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, it had to do with the procedural bylaw. So it was another amendment dealing with the procedural bylaw.
Okay, now so we've carried the one that was on the, like, this one has been approved. So you would like to table something else, Councillor Bedevancourt?
Yeah, that's why I wanted.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So I thought you were just dealing with the amendment, so not the main motion, but I wanted to put forward another amendment, and that's to move the start time from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And if I could get a seconder, then I would, that would be great. Thank you.
My apologies for that. I didn't mean to put them all together. I didn't mean to do that as an oversight. Are we able to put that amendment with a mover and seconder on the floor?
I think it's better.
Councillor Chair Marchand, would you mind if we took just a moment to, I just want to verify the procedure bylaw. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And my apologies about that. I didn't mean to pull that all together on purpose.
Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Lees. Given the potential procedural difficulties, recognizing this is Committee of the Whole this evening, and the Committee of the Whole recommendation will go to the council meeting in August. At the August council meeting, I will be introducing a motion to change the start time to 3 p.m. Okay, so I withdraw my motion. Thank you.
Your worship, go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. You're chairing this section, so it's your call. I hear Councillor Bedevancourt. I think the amendment next time might cause even more timeline confusion for the ability to implement this bylaw and this change, because the bylaw will come forward at next council meeting for us to potentially approve. So an amendment to the bylaw that's presented might cause a further delay. Before you move on to the next item on the agenda, the floor is open. You could look to an amended motion. That's your call if you want to do that before something moves forward. From my purview, if council is willing to hear an amendment before you move on, I personally would rather just deal with it instead of dealing with a surprise direction next time.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Should council wish to address the matter currently and put the matter on the floor, then and that's the will of council, then please do.
Okay, so Councillor Bedevancourt, would you like to put forward a motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move that the meeting times be changed to, the meeting start time be changed to 3 p.m. and I would move that. Look for a seconder. Thank you.
Anyone second that motion? Second, Councillor Darush. Any comments, questions, further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Is that defeated? Were you a no? So that was defeated. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your support with that. And I do apologize, Councillor Betancourt, I did not mean to put the whole motion and cause any confusion. Okay, final area is referrals to upcoming agenda items. We currently have one, which is the procedural bylaw that we were chatting with this evening. Does anybody have any items to add? Seeing none, I will read the motion that the Finance and Corporate Services section endorse the following addition and or existing referral to upcoming agendas and staff, the procedural bylaw. Can I get a mover? Councillor Duress, seconder, Councillor Waters. All those in favor? That carries. Any questions from the media or public? Oh, one question from the public. Yes, could you come to the podium? I think we need, or
Carolyn Murner, Penetanguishene. My only concern in changing your date to the afternoon to the evening is with an election coming up that may have a big impact to anyone considering to stand as an elector.
thank you for your feedback. And I think part of the opportunity ensuring that we went out to the public and having that online survey and the information session was to give everybody an opportunity to certainly share and consider that. The report is public. We had over, I think, 50 plus, 168 or so respondents. I think we were happy to get those. We shared that for the information sessions, we only had, one, maybe two members of the public come in person that at the information sessions. And yeah, no, and we appreciate you bringing that forward and raising that. Thank you. If there's no other questions, I will turn it back to you, Deputy LaRose.
Thank you, Councillor Marchand. We are down to number 10. Can I get a mover to adjourn the meeting at 9:23? Moved by Councillor Leroux, second by Councillor Marchand. One quick thing. Thank you for your patience tonight, and a special thank you to Madam Clerk, who gave me a bunch of cheat sheet notes. With that, folks, we are adjourned.